Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Atlanta Thrashers franchise mode here in NHL 21. So in last episode we had free agency and we started up the season simulation, and as you can see so far we are 17, 14, and 5. We are over simulating a bit, mainly because we did sign a pretty good player in last episode, but we're probably going to be flipping him away in this episode just because he's simulating too good, and that is Robert Esch. As you can see so far, he's 12, 8, and 5 with a 916 save percentage and a 2.67 goals against average, so he's been pretty solid. And yeah, he's got a good chunk of trade value. We did sign him for 2 years, so he should have a lot of interest amongst other teams in the league. Now we also are going to be trading away probably somebody like Lubos Barteshko in this episode because he's oversimulating quite a bit. As you can see, he's got 26 points in 36 games, so he's more than likely going to be on the chopping block this episode as well to help us tank. Now we do have a few comments I'd like to go over. The first one is from HawksFan88, and it's also a combination of Poltergeist's comment as well. So HawksFan says, I think Esch and Barteshko need to go. They're both older and they're too good to be playing on a team that's supposed to be tanking, which is basically what I was just saying. So yeah, Barteshko's been oversimulating and Esch has been pretty solid, so we're going to be flipping both those guys away in this episode. I also mentioned to HawksFan that anybody that we should be trading for, or should we just be trading for picks like we usually are? And he says, though, if you could get Kuznetsov, that would be great. If not, just go for the picks. Because if you guys remember at the draft that was 2 episodes ago, there was Kuznetsov who went to San Jose. Well, he's actually on the trading block by San Jose, so we might be able to swing a deal with San Jose to get Kuznetsov. If we can't for some reason, though, we are going to just probably trade these guys for picks, and then it'll help bolster our team to being even better in the next couple of seasons or so. And then also, Poltergeist commented on that. He says only Barteshko needs to go. Barteshko needs to be traded for Kuznetsov. That way Atlanta could have a good goaltending and a young scorer. I mean, you want this team to be good, right? I don't know if y'all agree with me or not, but you could do what you want. So basically my theory with this team is I want them to be good, but I don't want them to be good for the first few seasons. I want them to kind of build up through the draft mostly, and not through like trading that much in free agent signings. I want to build up a team that could be good for multiple seasons, not just good right now. So that's why we've brought in people like Malkin and Bergeron in the draft, and why we still have Heatley and Kovalchuk, because they're really good pieces to build this team around. And then people like eventually that are older could just basically be flipped away or replaced by young free agents or draft picks, that type of thing. So that's how I really see building this team up. And then also we do have another comment. This one is from Poltergeist on his own. He says 2004, so he's putting a part of the episode, which he says there was a goalie in the draft. So I think there must have been a glitch again, because there is goalie drafts, which are really weird. So let's just take a look at this. Oh yeah, Mr. Stu Donald is listed as a goalie. That is interesting. It's kind of weird that he's also in Tri-City, though, because I made Carey Price obviously in Tri-City because that's where Carey Price played. So there's 2 goalies from Tri-City that are both supposed to go in this draft, which is kind of interesting. And then he also mentions that in 1948 in last episode, he said Darby and Mayer seem like good grabs for defensemen. I do not know if they're going to be any good because I'm not very good at scouting, but I'd keep a slight eye on them. And he's talking about these defensemen. Darby, I pinned him just in case. He does look pretty good. He's probably going to be like a top 4 potentially, because this roster build, I think it kind of changes up the ETAs a bit. So I feel like this guy could be a top 4, but I'm not 100% sure of that. Then also there is Mayer, who looks also pretty solid, but he does have some like really weak attributes like his skating and his physical, but he could still be probably pretty good as well. So we have them pinned just in case, because we're going to have to build up our defensive prospects quite a bit if we want to be a competitive team in a few seasons. And then the final comment is from Holden Eels. He says, if you can't get one of the first 3 picks, trade down to get Price. And I said, I think Price is projected to go in the 2nd round, if I'm not mistaken, and I have a lot of 2nd round picks, so I should be able to get Carey Price. Yeah, Carey Price is projected to go 58th overall. This part says 56 to 54, so I think I still may be able to get Carey Price with one of our seconds, because if I go to our draft board here, I think I have, let's see, projected picks. Yeah, I have 4 2nd round picks. So I think I should be able to get Carey Price with one of them. If not, we could always try and trade up. Yeah, this one says to get Carey Price. So we could definitely get Carey Price with one of these picks if we really want to, which I think we probably will, because I don't know if Brian Elliott's going to pan out to being that great of a goalie in this, but we never know. Okay, so that's the comments I'd like to go over for this episode. So without further ado, let's make some trades. So the first one we're going to be making is we're going to be getting rid of Lubos Barteshko. I didn't actually scout out these trades to see if they would work first, but basically San Jose has Kuznetsov on the block. As you can see, he's a 77 at 18 listed as a depth forward. We will play him in our lineup probably right away, and he's having a pretty good start to his AHL career for this guy. So we are going to be trading for this guy from the San Jose Sharks, and they do actually want Lubos Barteshko, which is interesting. Now, this probably wouldn't go through on its own because, as you can see, Kuznetsov's got a little bit more value. So we probably would have to add in something to this deal to make it go through, which we do have a 3 third-round picks, so we don't technically need our 4th-round pick. I know I don't really like giving up picks because this team is already pretty bad, but I don't really see it being necessary for us to keep a 4th-round pick if we have 3 thirds and 2 fourths. Or 2 seconds, my bad. So I think we're going to throw in this 3rd-round pick, for our 4th-round pick of ours, and see if this goes through. I think it should go through because San Jose gets a good roster player for their team, or depth forward. I don't know how they're using their players, and then the 4th-round pick as well to them. And we get a very solid young prospect who went 12th overall and has some really good shooting attributes. So let's see if this deal goes through. And that's accepted. Okay, perfect. Thank you, San Jose. That's actually a pretty decent deal. So we are already going to call up Kuznetsov, which I think he already must have got called up. Let me check. Yes, he did. Okay, that's good. So let me just quickly go best lines because we will readjust this after the fact. And then we just need to trade away Robert Esch, which I have no idea who I'm going to even trade Robert Esch to. I know I could get a 2nd-round pick for Robert Esch, so we probably will do that just because that way we get another chance at getting Carey Price. So let's see what teams are interested in Robert Esch. Carolina's interested, and they don't have a great record. I think they wanted to give up picks for next year, though, if I'm not mistaken when I was looking. Yeah, so they don't have a 3rd or 2nd for this year, so we will trade for their 3rd for 2024, which would be a EA-generated draft. So we're going to, well, actually not a 3rd-round pick. Damn, Esch has a lot of value. We could get a 2nd for next year. Yeah, let's do Esch for a 2nd, and maybe we could get a 3rd, too, into this deal. If not, maybe we'll just do the 2nd-round pick. So Esch for a 2nd and a 3rd, and wow, that is accepted. Okay, I'll do that. Pretty good deal to pick up Robert Esch in free agency and then flip him for a 2nd and a 3rd. Which means, yeah, we're going to leave Brian Elliott still in the AHL just so he develops a bit better. And we'll call up Kluchek, I think, for now. Because Kluchek is just one of those depth type of AHL goalies. Since we don't have another option, we'll run with Jan Lasik as our starter. And that's good. Okay, so I'm going to quickly adjust the lineups, and then I will see you guys in a second. Okay, guys, so here's what our team looks like going closer to the trade deadline. We got Kovalchuk, Savart, and Tapper. 2nd line, Heatley, Bergeron, and Hossa. 3rd line, Kuznetsov with Malkin and Letowski, so pretty solid 3rd line, I think. And then 4th line-wise, we got Bradley, Chouinard, and Keefe. And defensively, we got Charnquist, Weaver, Malik and Zuzan, and Walter and Grandpierre. And then goalie-wise, we got Lasik and Kluchek. And then there's our depth guys. So I think we are good to go. Hopefully this team starts to drop off a lot. And hopefully we get some production, though, still from Kuznetsov. Because this guy is going to be a pretty good player for us. And he actually is a really good fit for our 2nd line. So hopefully he develops into being that good 2nd line player for us down the road. Now we're just going to go best lines in the AHL. Nobody scratch kicked it. Okay, so that's all the trades we are going to make probably in this episode, unless this team still simulates really well going into the trade deadline, which I don't really expect is going to happen, but you never know. So yeah, let's sim up right to the trade deadline, or the day before the deadline, just to see how this team is. We're also going to take a look in this episode at all the AI trades just to see what type of trades happen. But yeah, hopefully Kuznetsov is pretty good at the NHL level, even if this team is probably going to lose a lot of games. But we are winning games, which I have no idea why, because we just traded away our starting goaltender and stuff like that. LA's fired their coach, Orlando Ross. That's kind of a neat name. Fourth is sixth, and Grand Pierre for a third. Now that's an intriguing offer. I don't really want another third-round pick. Well, I could use another third-round pick, but not going to do that. Okay, so yeah, this team is still being wildly inconsistent, as we are winning games when I don't really want us to win games. It's really hard not to be a playoff team in this, because there's a lot of teams with worse goaltending combinations than us. So it's kind of annoying how this team simulates good sometimes. Also, the league looks really weird. Like, I looked through the lines after I recorded the last episode, and literally the league looks a lot different. Okay, so the day before the deadline, we are 29, 24, 7-1, which is way too good. We are in a wild card spot in the playoffs by 4 points. Oh, I might have to actually make some more trades in this episode to help us fall off a cliff a bit more. Let's take a look actually at, maybe we can make the lines have worse chemistry. I don't know what we could really do to make this lines have worse chemistry. How's Kuznetsov been? 9 points in 25 games. Pretty good. Only 2 goals, but still. Damn, that fourth line's been horrendous. But every other line has been pretty good plus-minus wise. Huh. Interesting. I don't know if Jan Lasik is over-simulating. If he is, maybe we trade him away. He's been pretty good. Yeah, maybe we have to trade away Jan Lasik and then just call up Novotny from the AHL or something. Yeah, we might have to do that. Just because this team is like still over-simulating with a 79 starting goaltender. So I think we will probably trade away Jan Lasik in this episode, just to kind of make this team even worse. Hopefully we don't make the playoffs still, because I want us to fall off a cliff in this last month. So yeah, let's advance a day right to the deadline. And we'll go in as a seller, see what is out there. And I don't think we're going to be trading for any players, but we are going to be trading away for sure Jan Lasik if we could find something. I just don't know who would want Jan Lasik, so we're going to have to go to the trade finder, and we're going to go to our goaltender, and we're going to go to Lasik, and nobody's interested in Jan Lasik via the trade finder. We might be stuck with Jan Lasik, unless I could find a deal here. Let's see, goaltenders, Lasik. Anybody want Lasik? Legit, nobody wants Jan Lasik. I don't understand that at all. Because there's teams that are running like 60s in net, but they do not want Jan Lasik. Like, I think Anaheim is one of those teams. Yeah, Anaheim has like Jimmy Howard as a 77 as their backup, but they don't want a 79. Like, there's some teams that are running probably a really weak goaltending combo. Let's see. There's also teams that have randomly really good players in the AHL. And wow, Robert Esch got injured after we traded him. Like, look at this. Like, Carolina's playing 80s and 81s. Or, yeah, 80s in the AHL. They have 3 NHL goalies. But, yeah. It's just really weird, this roster build after a few seasons. Like, Columbus, they used to have Crawford as their backup. But they're running with a 75 as their backup in Tucker Tynan. Yet they don't want to trade for a 79. I don't understand it at all. Yeah, we might be stuck with Jan Lasik, because legit, if nobody wants Jan Lasik, then we might just have to hold on to him. Yeah, I think we'll just hold on to him. And I don't think we're going to be making any trades. There's already been quite a bit of trades, but I have not seen what they are. I will check that afterwards. Yeah, I don't think we're going to make any more trades. We're just going to let the AIs do their trading. I'm kind of curious to see what the league did for trades. We're just going to go okay, because I don't want to read those yet. Don't want to claim sushi. And let's take a look at the trades that happened at the trade deadline. Hopefully there are some big blockbusters this year. Okay, so player pick and trading. Let's go to the bottom of this giant list. Okay, so before the deadline, actually, there was a third and a fourth that went to Montreal to Nashville from Montreal for Skrastins, and a fourth Jamie Allison, Rob Niedermeyer in a third go to Europe for a first and a second. Jay McCann, I don't think that's Jared McCann because I would have removed him, in a third and a seventh. Go to Nashville for Scott Young, Brett Hedican, and a fourth round pick. Boston gets Peter Bondra and Jason Weimer for DeLuca, a third and a fifth. Boston also gets Ruslan Soleil and Carl Dykhouse for a second and a fifth. Alan McCauley and Wayne Primo go to Tampa Bay for Gleason, a third and a fourth. Philadelphia gets a first and Johan Svensson for John LeClaire, Nathan Dempsey, and Eric Desjardins. Damn, Tampa Bay is loading up. Philadelphia acquires a first and a fourth for Steve Sullivan and Greg Adams. Edmonton acquires a first and Zach Hayes for Yuri Lettinen, Sean Hill, and two others. Damn, Boston's loading up as well. Philadelphia acquires a first and a fourth and Creta for Adam Oates, a third, and Ken Danico. I think Adam Oates was originally with Detroit way back in his early days of his career, so that's kind of interesting. St. Louis acquires Martin Straka and Colin White from Dallas in exchange for Thomas Vokoun, R. Stoll in a second. The Islanders acquired Tony Lidman, Kyle Calder, and two others for a first-round pick and Liam Van Loon. Dallas acquires a second-round pick, another second-round pick, and Machasek for Spacek, Dolan, and McKee. Okay. Colorado acquires Yachmanov, Richardson, and a fourth for a first and a sixth. Nashville acquires a second, a third, and Jerome for Nemchinov and Jeremy Roenick. So Jeremy Roenick heading to San Jose near the end of his career, just like he did in real life. That's kind of cool. Dallas acquires a third and a third for a third and Oleg Kvasha. Phoenix acquires a first and a sixth for Robert Lang and a third and Yaroslav Bednar. Those guys head to Ottawa. New Jersey acquires a third and Andrei Kovalenko from Pittsburgh in exchange for a second and a fourth. Buffalo acquires a first and a second for Alexei Zhitnik, who heads to Vancouver. LA acquires a second for Valerie Bure and a fourth. And New Jersey acquires Boris Mironov, Nicholas Volin, and Serge Aubin for a third-round pick, and some prospect named Craig. Interesting trade deadline. Not a huge amount of blockbuster deals, but some decent ones there. And yeah, hopefully this team falls off a cliff the rest of the season, because if we end up making the playoffs after making those trades that we made, I'm going to be a little bit mad. But, I mean, at least this team has like some good prospects already to build up around, and we could probably get more at next year's draft. The only thing is, if we make the playoffs, we're cheating ourselves out of getting Sidney Crosby, and that is not a good sign to cheat us out of a high franchise player. Artem Chubarov is on waivers. Damn, he's going down to the AHL. Okay, come on, team, lose games. We do not want to be a playoff team at all. Because if we make it to the playoffs, I'm going to be mad. Mark Savard's been injured. That's a good sign, because Mark Savard being injured means we probably will lose games, but we're still winning games. And he's already back. Oh, I don't know why this team is simulating good. Maybe it's just because of Bergeron and Malkin, but and the addition of Kuznetsov. Maybe it's our youth that is helping us out. Nicholas Volino on waivers. We're going to decline that. A lot of guys are actually going on waivers, more than normal. Lose games, boys. Yeah, okay, we're dropping games right at the end of the season. That's good. We're now 33, 36, 8-1. How are we in terms of the standings? We are out of a playoff spot. Good. Oh, thank God. We're not making the playoffs. Good. We fell apart right at the right time. Good job, Vlasic, dropping those games, because we definitely want to see if we could get to first overall this year or something. And Letowski's been injured. We'll just go replace player. And we finished the season 35, 37, 8-2, which has us at 80 points, which is near the bottom, but it isn't the bottom. The worst team in the league was the Sabres. So Buffalo's got the best odds in getting Sidney Crosby in this year's draft. So let's take a look at player stats and team stats for the season. And then I think we'll already sim up to the draft lottery results and all that stuff, just because you guys probably already want to see that. So Mark Savard had 62 points this year and a -7. This was a down year for him. He's been progressively getting a little bit worse each season, but still pretty good. Bergeron, 57 points. Really impressed with Bergeron. That's a great second season from him. 104 points now in his career. Malkin, 50 points in his rookie season. That's also really well done. So our young guys are producing good, which is a good sign for our rebuild, like in that. Chouinard, 20 points. Kuznetsov had 18 points since trading for him. That's pretty good. And he was a +8. He was only shooting 6%, but he should get some good development. Ritchie, 11 points in 17 games as a depth guy. I have no idea why Byron Ritchie simulates that well, because he doesn't have good offensive attributes, but whatever. Left wing wise, Danny Heatley had 78 points, Kovalchuk 71 points, and Marcel Hossa 40 points. That's not too bad. He might be one of those type of fourth liners we want to keep around for a while, but he doesn't really fit our team that well. He fits the top line better than anything. Right wing wise, Letowski had 53 points. He's probably gone in the offseason because, yeah, he's kind of over-assimilating quite a bit. Brad Tapper, 34 points. Bradley, 16 points. And Keefe, 15 points. Damn, that fourth line was really badly plus-minus. And then defensively, Walzer had 37 points. Charnk was 27. Weaver, 20. Malik, 19. Rampier had 12. Zuzan had 9. And Doig had 3 assists in 3 games. A lot of penalty minutes from our defensemen. And in goalie-wise, Lassick had a .902 save percentage, a 16-22-1 record, 4 shutouts, and a 3.04 goals against average. And then Kluchek actually played really good as a backup for some reason. Okay, let's take a look at the entire league for points. Let's see who led the NHL. This episode might be a bit long, but hopefully it's not too long. So Joe Thornton once again leading the league in points with 97 points this year. He's been absolutely nuts in this simulation. And he could be a UFA at the end of this year unless he signed an extension. Most goals this season was Sergei Fedorov on the Sens. Him and Peter Forsberg tie with 38 goals. Best plus-minus was Rob Blake with +46. Most penalty minutes was Scott Walker with 295 PIMs. Damn. Let's go by defensive points now. Best defenseman for points was Sergei Zubov with 63 points. He had 26 goals this year. Wow. That's impressive. Best goalie for wins was Marty Turco in Vancouver. Great pickup from Dallas a few seasons ago. He's actually simulating really well, which is really good because he's a really underrated goaltender in real life. Ray Emery, 37 wins in his first season, I think, as a goalie. No, yeah, this was his first full NHL season, technically, and he had a really good season. Hebby Bullen also had 37 wins, and Patrick Wall is right up there. Most shutouts this season was DiPietro and Brodeur. One of these scenes ain't like the other. Brodeur being that great goaltender and DiPietro being that supposed great goaltender. Maybe he's actually going to live up to the hype in this. He is probably going to sign a lifetime deal, though, at the end of the season. You never know. Best save percentage by a starter was Brodeur with a .923. And best goals against by a starter was Brodeur with a 2.18. But then again, Marty Turco might still win it. Any goalie goals this season? No goalie goals. Most goalie assists was Osgood and Salo with 4 assists. Okay. And the best rookie this season for points was Alex Ovechkin with 68 points. Somehow he only put up 19 goals, even though he has a ridiculous shooting category. So really good season from Ovechkin. He's going to beat out Malkin and Suhonen, who are the top 3 rookies. Let's take a look at team stats, and then, like I said, I think we will already sim up to the draft lottery results just because you guys want to know probably where we're drafting for next episode, so we can kind of get primed up for that. So the Vancouver Canucks finished as the top team in the league, and we finished where? We finished with the 17th best record, so we have a very slim chance of getting Sidney Crosby, but we could still get probably a pretty good player. Goals for per game, looks like we were one of the better offensive teams. Yeah, we're maybe around the mid-table with a 2.96. Goals against per game, though, we were maybe around the mid-table-ish, I think, or maybe a bit lower than that, in 2.94. Power play percentage, we actually had a pretty good power play at 18.2%, right around the mid-table as well. And penalty kill percentage is where we struggled, it looks like, the most, which was 81.7%. We had no short-handed goals this year either, which is kind of weird. Okay, so let's sim and find out who wins the Stanley Cup this year, and also find out the draft lottery results, because that's more what we're simming to, because we're kind of curious on that. We'll also take a look at the awards, and then that will be pretty much it for this episode. I know I'm kind of flying through these seasons in this Atlanta mode, but hopefully you guys are still enjoying this series because I'm having a lot of fun with it so far. So who is going to win the Stanley Cup in the lockout shortened season, because technically we're in 2004-05. It's going to be the San Jose Sharks, and then Colorado wins the Calder Cup. So we trade Lubos Barteshko to San Jose, and he goes on to win a Stanley Cup probably, unless he got dealt again, which I don't think he did. Let's take a look at those awards, and also I'll take a look at the cup winning team. Let's take a look at the playoff tree first, though. So San Jose beat out the New Jersey Devils in 6 games. New Jersey swept Ottawa in the conference finals. Don't like that. But there is the playoff tree in case you guys were interested in that. Let's take a look at that cup winning San Jose team before we take a look at the awards, just because I'm curious on the Sharks. So they had Jason Arnott, Eric Lindros wins the cup. Timo Solani still, Patrick Marleau. Okay, I could see why this team won. Rob Blake and Jason Blake, no relation to each other. Nicholas Sundstrom, Vincent Damphus, Merit Zedlichky. Lubos Barteshko did go on to win a Stanley Cup, so good for him. Sandis Ozolinsh wins the cup. Frederic Modin, Jonathan Chichu, Nemchinov, Hannon. Andrew Chuck wins another cup. Cool. Jason Smith wins the cup. Jim Fahey, Thomas Holmstrom as well. Damn, this is a really deep team. And Rob Blake being at San Jose is kind of cool because he actually went there in 1 point. And their goaltender was Marc-Andre Fleury. So Marc-Andre Fleury winning a cup in his 3rd NHL season. Or actually his 2nd NHL season. Never mind. Damn. Yeah, the Sharks are going to be a very tough team to compete with in the next few seasons. Interesting. Let's take a look at those individual awards for the season. So San Jose winning the Stanley Cup, Vancouver the President's Trophy, San Jose, New Jersey Stanley Cup Finals. Joe Thornton wins his 3rd straight Art Ross. The Hart also goes to Joe Thornton. Rob Blake wins the James Norris for the 2nd straight season. Sergei Samsonov, the Lady Bing. Alex Ovechkin winning the Calder, not a surprise. Jason Arnott winning the Conn Smythe. Marty Brodeur winning the Vezina for the first time and also winning the William M. Jennings. Merrick Malik wins the Bill Masterton. Nashville's coach wins the Jack Adams. Joe Thornton also wins his 2nd straight Selke. He also wins his 3rd straight Lindsay. And Fedorov is going to win the Maurice Richard. In terms of the AHL, any awards for our AHL affiliate? Does not look like it. Okay. Now, the moment you guys have been all waiting for, the draft lottery results. I'll also show you guys the draft class again quickly and the progress reports. So, Calgary's got number 1. So, Calgary's going to get Sidney Crosby. Damn, where did we finish? I didn't even take a look at that. We stayed at 14. That is not good. We could move up in the draft if we really want to or see somebody interesting. But, yeah, Calgary's going to get Sidney Crosby. And then that means that number 2, New York Islanders, I think that is, or Rangers, is going to get Anze Kopitar. But that's the draft lottery results. Interesting. So we could trade up if we want to get a higher up pick, but I don't know if that's really mandatory. But we'll take a look at the draft class when we get there. So retirement-wise, we didn't lose anybody probably, but there is some big retirements. So Ron Francis retires, Steve Thomas, Larionov, Dave Anderchuk retires with another Stanley Cup, so that's nice for him because I think he won 2 in this. Luc Robitaille retires, Claude Lapointe, Tim Taylor, quite a bit of big names. I'll just scroll through this a bit because I don't want this episode to be like 40 minutes, which it already is at like 28 or so probably at this stage. But it looks like a decent amount of players I made retired. Not a whole lot, but some decent ones. And then some guys that were actually playing in the AHL and whatnot. Okay, so that should be good, right? Yeah, that's pretty much it, I think. And in terms of goalie retirements, Arthur Urbe retires with Nashville. Mike Richter retires, and that is it. Okay. And we did lose a coach. Mitchell Anderson. I don't remember if that was our head coach or not. But we did lose a coach, so we got to keep an eye out for potential other coaches. And yeah, we'll continue simming past the draft interviews. And let's take a look at this draft class and see if we have to move up or not. So yeah, Crosby's going to Calgary. damn, he's going to be really good with them. He's already got A pluses in pretty much every category. And then, okay, so it looks like Kopitar is actually going to be beaten by some EA generated guy named Alex Castles, okay? But we have 14th overall, which means there is Terrell Monroe, who looks pretty good. This guy could be good. He's a center, but he might be a good shooter. This guy's got like elite speed, potentially. We'll pin him. Apparently he's NHL ready. This guy also looks pretty good, but he's supposed to go one spot above us. And Lukowicz does not look great. There's also Rohan Clark, who we were just mentioning before. He looks still good. Scavello, not great. Just gotta take a look. Oh, there's another guy, Marcus Nordstrom. Oh yeah, I pinned some of these guys already. Potentially a medium elite offensive defenseman. Potentially, but probably not. You never know. This guy's a high top 9. Geez, this draft might not actually be that good. A high top 9. What the heck? I haven't seen one of those in like ages. But yeah, there is definitely some good players out there. But some of it might be a bit of lies. So that's that. And let's take a quick look at the progress reports. So any good developments? So Bergeron and Malkin. Malkin's getting a lot of statistical growth, but also some good natural growth. And then we're also getting some good growth from Bergeron, which is a bit a combination of both as well. Brian Elliott's getting some good growth. He's up to a 72. All natural growth. Good. And then in the system, we are getting growth from pretty much all of our prospects. Does anybody have a high overall yet? Kuznetsov got a little tiny bit of growth in terms of his poise and his durability. But Baikov is growing really well for a low top 6D, which is nice. And then Wall is getting some development. That's good. And then Edmonds is getting some growth, but he is taking a little bit of his time, but he should still develop into being something. But yeah. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Atlanta Thrashers franchise mode. So next episode, we'll take it to the draft in the re-sign stage, and hopefully this team could start getting a little bit better. We are making some good headway in terms of our rebuild. And yeah, let me know what you guys think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.